Have you ever heard of MEDJUGORJE Garabandal, or the revelations of Saint Faustina? If not, get ready because what you are going to discover in this video can completely change the way you see the world. These apparitions and messages are not just religious stories, but warnings that many believe to be directly linked to the end of times. And there's something even more impactful. All of this may be connected to the events we are experiencing today. Just imagine messages that talk about conversion, miracles, and warnings coming from another plane, words that many believe are not just for a specific group, but for all humanity, and that includes you. What happens if these messages are true? What is in store for the future of the world? And, most importantly, what can you do now to prepare? Today we will unravel the mysteries behind the apparitions of MEDJUGORJE, of the three events prophesied in Garabandal, the warning, the miracle, and the punishment, and of the revelations of divine mercy of Saint Faustina. These are not simple stories, but warnings that may contain answers to questions that you may not even know you have. But here is the point. These messages bring an urgency. Every detail revealed has profound implications. And believe it, it is not by chance that you are here now. By the end of this video, you will understand why these messages are becoming increasingly relevant, and why some say that we are in the last moments of a divine countdown. This video is not just about history, it's about something that's happening now. You'll discover how these messages can be connected to the science we see every day, wars, global crises, and changes in human behavior. And believe me, ignoring this can be a mistake you don't want to make. If you watch it, by the end you will understand what is most important in these messages, and what may be at stake. But if you leave now, you run the risk of missing information that may never again appear with such clarity and urgency. What is behind these revelations may answer the most disturbing questions you've ever had about the purpose of the future and the role of each of us in this greater plan. So stay with me, this is more than a video. It's a journey to discover what's behind MEDJUGORJE, Garabandal, and Saint Faustina, and in the end you will be much more prepared to decide what to do with these revelations. Whether you like it or not, time is running. Click the watch button now and come with me until the end. Every second matters. Are you ready for the truth? Why do the messages of MEDJUGORJE, Garabandal, and Saint Faustina continue to attract so much attention even decades after they were revealed? What is it about these stories that makes millions of people around the world stop to reflect, question, and even change their lives? The answer lies in the mystery that surrounds these revelations. They are not just messages of faith, but statements that defy logic and speak directly to the human heart. Imagine a call that transcends time, carrying warnings about the future, and at the same time asking for something urgent, an inner transformation. But are we listening to these messages? Do they have something in common? They all speak of events that many believe are linked to the end of times. This is not something that can be easily ignored. After all, they touch on themes that move the innermost being of any person, the purpose of life, the destiny of humanity, and what comes next. What makes it all even more intriguing is that the messages of MEDJUGORJE, GARABANDAL, and Saint Faustina point to a countdown, as if we were living in a decisive period in which each choice has a weight. But what exactly does this mean? Is there something we need to know? Something that can make all the difference, not only for the future of the world, but for our own destiny. While many see these accounts as simple stories, others see them as a pattern, and this brings us to the big question: are these messages mere coincidences? Or are they a divine plan that is being revealed before our eyes? If you have ever felt that something is wrong in the world, an unrest that you cannot explain, perhaps these revelations can shed light about what is happening, or maybe they are just myths. But what if they are real? What is at stake here is not just knowing about the warning, the miracle, or the punishment of Garabandal, nor understanding the messages of the Queen of Peace of MEDJUGORJE, or the vision of the divine mercy of Saint Faustina. What is at stake is something greater, something that can directly impact the way we live now and how we will face the future. Are you ready to explore these messages more deeply? Make no mistake, what you will discover next can shake your worldview, so do not go away yet. Every part of this story is interconnected, and you will not want to miss any detail. In June 1981, in the small village of MEDJUGORJE in Bosnia and Herzegovina, something happened that forever changed the lives of 6 young people and caught the attention of the world. They claimed to have seen and spoken to the Virgin Mary, who presented as the Queen of Peace. Since then, more than 40 years later, the messages continue to arrive, and the phenomena around this place remain inexplicable. But what makes MEDJUGORJE so special? The central message is clear: conversion, an urgent call to prayer, fasting, and reconciliation. But is that all? Or is there something deeper that is being revealed little by little, message after message, day after day? The reports of these visionaries were accompanied by signs that defy explanations. People who visit MEDJUGORJE report miracles such as unexplained healings and signs in the sky that many believe are divine confirmations. Science has tried to study the phenomena, but some things remain unanswered. Among the most striking messages is the promise of 10 secrets that will be revealed to the world at the right time. These secrets, according to the seers, contain information about the future of humanity and events that will profoundly mark history. And here a disturbing question arises: are we prepared for what these secrets may reveal? The Queen of Peace calls humanity to reconcile with God, stating that the time for this is running out. In her words, humanity is distracted, moving away from what is essential, and the warnings are not just an invitation, but a cry to wake up before it is too late. For those who visit MEDJUGORJE, the impact is immediate. Many claim to feel an indescribable peace, an inner transformation that stays with them for the rest of their lives. But for those who have never been there, one nagging question remains: what if this is all true? And have you heard about the secrets of MEDJUGORJE? Some say that when they are revealed, the world will never be the same. Time is running out, but there is still room to choose a new path. Are we ready to answer this call? And here is the central question. If the messages of the Queen of Peace have so much to say about the future, why are there still those who ignore their meaning? Maybe it is because the messages do not just call for external changes, but challenge something much more difficult, the change within ourselves. Stay with me because the next part of our journey will delve even deeper into the mystery of the apparitions at Garabandal. The secrets of MEDJUGORJE are just the beginning. In the 1960s, a small, isolated village in northern Spain called Garabandal became the scene of one of the most mysterious events of the century. 4 girls, Conchita, Jacinta, Marie Loli, and Marie Cruz, claimed to have received apparitions of the Virgin Mary and the Archangel Saint Michael. And with these apparitions came 3 messages that echo to this day: the warning, the miracle, and the punishment. These messages, known as the 3 great events of Garabandal, are a direct warning to all humanity. And the most impressive thing is that, according to the reports, they have not yet happened. The warning, Conchita, one of the visionaries, explained, will be a global experience. Every person, wherever they are, will see their soul as God sees it. It will be like a universal examination of conscience. No matter who you are or what you believe, everyone will experience this moment. Many say it will be an unprecedented opportunity for repentance, but there is a detail that chills. The warning will also bring pain, as humanity will be confronted with its failures. Now think how you would react if you saw your whole life, your mistakes, your choices, without masks, without excuses. For some, the warning will be a chance to start over. For others, an unbearable revelation. The miracle will follow the warning. It will happen in a specific place in Garabandal, and it will be a permanent, visible sign that will remain there forever. This event serves to confirm the truth of the messages and the faith of those who believe. Conchita stated that she will announce the date of the miracle 8 days in advance. But here is the point. Only those who are prepared during the warning will be able to fully understand the meaning of this miracle. This brings us to the next and most frightening stage, the punishment. If, even after the warning and the miracle, humanity continues to ignore the calls for conversion, the punishment will come. The girls did not detail what it will be like, but they described terrifying scenes that they witnessed in their visions, a scenario of pain and destruction that, according to them, will be the direct consequence of the rejection of divine messages. But here is something important. Punishment is not a desire for revenge, but a final attempt to save what remains. It is described as a natural consequence of our collective choices. Why does this matter now? Since the apparitions, many have questioned if we are living in the times predicted in Garabandal. Wars, global crises, natural disasters, everything seems to point to something bigger. Are the events of Garabandal approaching? And, more importantly, are we ready to face them? Skeptics argue that these apparitions are just stories created by 4 isolated girls, but believers see a pattern. Of course, the warnings are not just predictions, but urgent invitations to change. If the warning came tomorrow, what would it reveal about your life? And if the miracle happened, would you be prepared to recognize it? These questions are crucial. In the next part, we will delve into the visions of Saint Faustina and the message of divine mercy that connects all of this in an even deeper context. Stay until the end. What you are about to discover could change everything. Among the most fascinating apparitions in modern history, the visions of Saint Faustina Kowalska stand out not only for their spiritual depth, but for their direct connection with the past. A humble nun from Poland, without great pretensions, became the messenger of one of the most impactful revelations of the 20th century, divine mercy. Within these messages, there is something that goes beyond spiritual comfort. There are warnings, signs, and a disturbing clarity about what is in store for the future of humanity, the vision of merciful Jesus. It all began when Saint Faustina had mystical encounters with Jesus, who appeared to her as the merciful Christ with rays of light coming out of his heart. During these meetings, she received specific instructions to spread the message of God's mercy to the world. But there was a tone of urgency in these messages. They were not just an invitation to repentance, but a warning that the time of mercy would not last forever. Jesus said, "Before I come as the just judge, I first open wide the doors of my mercy. He who refuses to pass through the doors of my mercy must pass through the doors of my justice." This questions if this period of mercy is what we are experiencing now and if time is running out. Saint Faustina described in her diary chilling visions of the end times. She saw great punishments coming upon the earth, but also a promise that those who trust in the mercy of God would be protected. However, the message was clear: humanity cannot continue to ignore the calls for conversion. An excerpt from her diary echoes to this day: "Prepare the world for my final coming. Before I come as the just judge, I am coming first as the King of mercy." But what does that mean to us? Are we living in this time of mercy, or are we wasting this last opportunity? As part of the revelations, Saint Faustina was instructed to spread two practices: the veneration of the image of the merciful Jesus and the prayer of the chaplet of divine mercy. Both were presented as powerful forms of intercession, especially in times of greatest need. According to the message, the image and the rosary are not just devotions. They are spiritual weapons to face what is to come, both on a personal level and collectively. Connecting this with MEDJUGORJE and GARABANDAL, here is the point that many do not realize. The messages of Saint Faustina are not isolated, just as in MEDJUGORJE and GARABANDAL. There is a call to conversion, a warning of future events, and a promise that faith will be rewarded. It is as if each of these revelations were a piece of a larger puzzle that is being completed before our eyes. Why does it matter now? We are living in times of uncertainty, wars, global crises, growing divisions. Everything seems to remind us of the words of Saint Faustina. Are we approaching the end of this period of mercy? And if we are, what can we do to seize this opportunity before it is too late? Here's the truth: these messages are not just stories from the past, they speak directly to our time. They ask us to look within ourselves, to question ourselves about our choices, and to make a decision. If today were the last day of this time of mercy, How would you respond to this call? In the next part, we will explore what connects all these messages and how the signs around us indicate that something bigger may be happening. Do not miss it, because the details that come next may be the turning point to understanding all this. The revelations of MEDJUGORJE, GARABANDAL, and Saint Faustina are not isolated events. If you look closer, you will realize that they are connected by a central message that crosses time and space. Each one of them seems to be a piece of a big puzzle that points to something bigger, a spiritual countdown that affects all humanity. But really, what are these messages, and why are they so relevant for us today? A call to conversion. There is a call to conversion, and humanity needs to heed it. From the messages of MEDJUGORJE to the prophecies of GARABANDAL, the messages warn about the need for conversion before the warning and the miracle happen. And in the revelations of Saint Faustina, Jesus speaks about repentance as the only way to get through the time of mercy and avoid judgment. The connection is evident. We are being warned that our collective and individual choices have consequences. But are we listening? The time of mercy is running out. A crucial point of these messages is the sense of urgency. In MEDJUGORJE, the 10 secrets remain a mystery, but we know they represent future events that will profoundly impact the world. In GARABANDAL, the warning and the miracle are described as last acts of mercy before the punishment. And in the words of Saint Faustina, Jesus makes it clear that this is the time of mercy, but that it will be followed by the time of justice. Adding these messages together, it becomes clear that we are living in a decisive period. There is no guarantee of how much time we have. What would you do if you knew that this was your last chance to change the course of your life? Signs around us, wars, global crises, natural disasters, and a growing sense of chaos, all of this seems to be in line with the warnings of these apparitions. With each passing year, the signs seem to intensify, as if something is about to happen. In MEDJUGORJE, the messages speak of the battle between good and evil intensifying in the last times. In GARABANDAL, the warning will be preceded by a time when the world will seem to be out of control. And in the visions of Saint Faustina, there is a call to trust in mercy before it is too late. Are we ignoring the signs because we are afraid to believe, or because we are so distracted by the frenetic pace of the world that we fail to see what is right in front of us? Hope lies in conversion. Despite the alarming tone of these messages, there is also a promise. Mercy is available to all, regardless of the past. Conversion is not just a change of behavior, but a transformation of the heart, and that is the key that unites everything. No matter how chaotic the world seems, there is still time to act. The messages remind us that even in the darkest moments, there is light and hope. Why does this matter to you now? Have you stopped to think that maybe you are hearing these messages today because you need to hear them? The time of mercy is an open window, but it will not remain open forever. In the next part, we will connect these messages to current world events. We will see how the events around us can be signs that something bigger is underway. You will not want to miss it, because this is where the pieces start to fit together. Stay with me until the end, because this journey is still far from over. Stop for a moment and look around you. The world is in a state of turmoil that many never imagined witnessing in their lives. Wars, devastating economic crises, global pandemics, intensifying natural disasters, and above all, a collective sense that something is deeply wrong. What do these events have to do with the messages of MEDJUGORJE, GARABANDAL, and Saint Faustina? Perhaps more than we imagine. The world is on the threshold of a warning. The GARABANDAL messages describe a dark scenario that precedes the warning, a moment in which the world will seem to be on the verge of collapse. Conflicts will intensify, people will turn away from God, and a spiritual crisis will spread like never before. Looking at the current times, it is not difficult to make this connection. Global polarization, the lack of purpose, and the growing disbelief in spiritual values are signs that echo the prophetic messages. But there is something more. The messages say that the warning will be an act of mercy, an opportunity for transformation. Could these difficult times that we live in be, in fact, the prelude to this moment? Natural and supernatural signs. Natural disasters such as earthquakes, floods, and volcanic eruptions are becoming more frequent and intense. Some scientists attribute this to climate change, but for those who follow the messages of MEDJUGORJE and GARABANDAL, these events may be clear signs that something bigger is happening. In MEDJUGORJE, the Virgin Mary speaks of a purification necessary for humanity, something that is already underway. Natural phenomena would be part of this process, a warning that the time of mercy is running out. And there are also supernatural signs, reports of miraculous cures, apparitions of unexplained lights in the sky, and testimonies of instant conversions continue to occur, especially in pilgrimage sites such as MEDJUGORJE and GARABANDAL. These manifestations are seen as reminders that the spiritual world is much closer than we imagine. The spiritual crisis of humanity. Perhaps the most worrying sign is humanity's growing distance from God. Morality seems to be in decline, and many have replaced spirituality with an existential void. The messages of Saint Faustina are clear. Humanity will not find peace until it turns to my mercy. Looking at the current state of the world, it is clear that these words have never been more relevant. There is a spiritual void that is eating away at the heart of humanity, and the messages of MEDJUGORJE, GARABANDAL, and Saint Faustina ask us to react before it is too late. The signs are real. And what does this mean for you? If all these signs are aligning, what does this mean? The messages were not given to create fear, but to awaken humanity. They invite us to look within ourselves, to reflect on our choices, and to prepare ourselves for what is coming. And here the most important question is, if the signs point to a turning point, how are you preparing? Are you ignoring these warnings, or are you willing to be part of the change? Are we ready for the future? The events around us seem to be intensifying. The connection with the messages from MEDJUGORJE, GARABANDAL, and Saint Faustina is undeniable, but it is up to each of us to decide how to respond. These signs do not just call for observation but action. In the next part, we will explore the divisions between skeptics and believers, why so many people reject these messages while others embrace them as absolute truths, and how this affects the way we live and face today's challenges. Stay with me, you won't want to miss what comes next. The revelations of MEDJUGORJE, GARABANDAL, and Saint Faustina have divided opinions since they were announced to the world. On one side, those who believe that these messages are a direct intervention from heaven, an urgent call to humanity. On the other side, those who dismiss the reports as exaggerated stories, the fruit of imagination or superstition. But why do these messages generate so much polarization, and what does this mean for everyone? Believers. For believers, the messages are not just isolated reports. They carry a coherence that spans decades and continents, connecting seemingly distant events with a single purpose: to alert humanity and offer a chance for redemption. Those who believe point to the fruits of these messages: conversions, deep healings, inexplicable signs. Supernatural places that defy science, such as MEDJUGORJE and GARABANDAL, continue to attract millions of pilgrims, many of whom leave transformed by a spiritual experience that they cannot explain. But that's not all. There are also visionaries and ordinary people who have dedicated their lives to sharing these messages, sometimes facing criticism, discredit, and persecution. For believers, their authenticity and commitment are proof of the truth that they carry. Reasons why skeptics reject. Skeptics, on the other hand, have their arguments. Many point to the lack of scientific proof, or to the perceived contradictions between the accounts of the visionaries. Others question the very idea of supernatural beings, preferring psychological or cultural explanations for the phenomena. But there is something deeper here. Believing in these messages often requires a change of life, and that change is not always comfortable. To think that we are living in decisive times, that our choices have eternal consequences, is something that many prefer to avoid. The tension between faith and reason. One of the great debates about these revelations is the tension between faith and reason. Skeptics ask for tangible proof. Believers argue that the essence of these messages is not measured by science, as in MEDJUGORJE the inner transformation of those who visit shows. How many skeptics are looking to see? Their approach is different, and perhaps this is precisely what gives strength to these messages. They are not comfortable, they provoke. And you, where do you stand in this division? Regardless of which side you are on, the messages of MEDJUGORJE, GARABANDAL, and Saint Faustina permit reflection. If they are true, ignoring them is the biggest mistake of your life. If they are false, at least they invite us to look inside ourselves and question what really matters. And this brings us to an essential question. Are you willing to give these messages a chance? Or will you dismiss them without even considering them? Doubt and faith. The division between skeptics and believers is not just a theoretical issue, it directly affects how we live our lives. Faith offers hope, meaning, and purpose, while doubt often leads us to seek even deeper answers. But here's the thing. Completely ignoring these messages can mean losing something precious, perhaps the last opportunity to change. In the next part, we will deepen this reflection. Let's connect everything we explored so far and bring the message to something even more personal. Are you ready to take the next step? Don't stop now, the journey is reaching its climax. Everything you have heard so far, the apparitions in MEDJUGORJE, the events prophesied in GARABANDAL, and the messages of Saint Faustina, points to something greater. It is not just about distant stories or revelations for other people. These messages speak directly to you. And now, in the face of all this, the most important question arises. What are you going to do with this information? These messages are not just for the world, they are for you. Throughout the revelations, there is a point that repeats itself: God is calling each of us individually. No matter who you are, where you are, or what you have done in the past, the call to conversion is not about perfection, it is about giving the first step. Imagine that everything that has been revealed, the warning, the miracle, the secrets of MEDJUGORJE, is happening, unfolding precisely to give you the chance to reflect, to prepare, and to change. It is not a coincidence that you are hearing this now. The transformation begins with a simple choice. Many wonder what they can do in the face of something so grand. The answer lies in the small things, in daily choices. The messages talk about prayer, about reconciliation, and about seeking what is essential in life, but above all, they ask for sincerity, that you look at yourself without masks and ask what needs to change within you. The Queen of Peace in MEDJUGORJE invites you to daily prayer. The messages from GARABANDAL ask for a deep examination of conscience, and Jesus, in his revelations to Saint Faustina, implores us to trust in his mercy. All of this begins with a personal decision. Time is running out. This may be the hardest part to hear, but also the most crucial. Time is not infinite. The messages make it clear that we are living in a special period. An open window that will not remain open forever. The question is, are you willing to act now, or will you wait until it is too late? This is not a warning to generate fear, but to awaken. There is something bigger going on, and every choice we make today contributes to the direction we will take. What is at stake? These messages speak of souls, yours, mine, all of ours. It is not just about an apocalyptic future or grand events. It is about daily decisions that shape not only our eternal destiny, but the impact that we leave in the world now. Are you ready to heed that call, or will you ignore it and let pass by what could be the most important opportunity of your life? An invitation to something greater. You are not here by chance. These messages did not come to you by accident. If you felt something while listening about MEDJUGORJE, GARABANDAL, and Saint Faustina, it is because there is a greater purpose at stake. Maybe it is time to stop and reflect. Maybe it is time to take a step towards what really matters. In the next and final part, we will conclude this journey, connecting all the dots. Let's explore how these messages are not just a warning but an invitation. Do not leave now. The end may be the key you need to understand everything. You have come this far, and the meaning of MEDJUGORJE, GARABANDAL, and Saint Faustina are not just histories of the past or prophecies for others. They are a call directly to you, now, at this moment. But the journey is not over yet, because the true purpose of these revelations is not just to inform, it is to transform. Why you cannot ignore these messages? Think of all that we have explored, the secrets of MEDJUGORJE, the warning, the miracle, and the punishment of GARABANDAL, and the time of mercy announced by Saint Faustina. There is a common thread that runs through all these messages, the urgency. It is not just about the future of humanity, it is about your future. Ignoring these messages will not make them any less real. They call for a decision. And here is the most important truth. What is at stake is greater than we imagine. It is not just about fear or punishment, but an invitation to redemption, to love, and hope. An invitation to hope. Although the messages are often interpreted as dark warnings, they bring above all a promise. God's mercy is within everyone's reach, no matter where you have been, what you have done, or how lost you feel. The time of mercy is now. You have been called to hear these words for a reason. Something within you knows there is more to life than what we can see. The messages are a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is light. What can you do today? You do not have to wait for the warning or the miracle to act. Change starts now with simple choices. Dedicate a moment of your day to prayer or reflection, reconcile with yourself, with others, and if this is the case, with God. Open yourself to the possibility of something greater, and allow these messages to touch your heart. Small steps can lead to great transformations. A journey that continues. This may be the conclusion of the video, but it is not the end of the story. The messages from MEDJUGORJE, GARABANDAL, and Saint Faustina are just the beginning of a spiritual journey that each of us is invited to take, and the next step is in your hands. A phrase that will stay in your memory: the messages are not just a warning but an opportunity. Do not miss the chance to listen and respond, because in the end, every choice matters, and time is running out. A final call to action: if something in this video touched you, share it. Someone close to you may need to hear this as much as you do. And if you want to continue exploring or deepening your spiritual journey, seek these messages with an open heart. Believe the fact that you are here now means the door is still open. But until when? Thank you for watching. May the light of these messages illuminate your path and inspire you to live with more purpose, courage, and faith.